Bismillah walhamdulillah wa salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam amma ba'd. We praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We thank Him for all the bounties He's bestowed upon us. And before I continue, I greet you with Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, thereby intending that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showers His peace upon you, and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses you with rahmah, especially on this beautiful night of Laytul Qadr, and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants you all the barakah and khair that He could possibly grant any of His servants, and whatever other beautiful meanings come from the greeting of salam, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has called a blessed and pure greeting. We pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants everybody who is listening to this and all our Muslim brothers across the world and sisters as well, inshallah, all this that is encompassed in the beautiful greeting of salam. So I hope everybody's done with their taraweeh, and as you can see, my face is a bit swollen. Alhamdulillah, I missed Seri this morning. I'm recording this lecture at 10 to 2 in the afternoon, so I'm feeling it, alhamdulillah. But we pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it easy for us, that Allah accepts. Alhamdulillah, we are fasting without suhoor, but I find that those fasts, you get the least rumbles on your stomach during the day. Having said that, I want to load everybody with ideas for Laylatul Qadr, and I want you to think about what I'm saying very carefully. I have obviously monitored myself and my abilities, and I've come to some conclusions with regards to ibadah and how we can do more ibadah than what we normally used to. And it's all about arranging what we do first and what we do like second and third, like that, ordering it. So as we know, we probably finished with our iftar. We've done our supper. We've done our taraweeh. I hope you've done your taraweeh. It's already 8 p.m. by the time this gets aired. So I hope you've done your taraweeh and everything by now. If you haven't, please finish that ASAP. Then what we do is we're either going to have a really nice strong cup of coffee for energy. We're going to have some energy drink. I'm not advertising for anybody. I'm just saying Red Bull or Lucozade or whatever it is that you want to drink. Just ensure it's halal, please. And having said that, give yourself a breather. Give yourself just a few minutes to relax, recuperate. You just stood for a while in your taraweeh. Legs might be sore. Now, the plan is as follows, brothers and sisters in Islam. Tonight is a very, very strong possibility of being Laylatul Qadr. And generally the ulama have all agreed that the 27th night usually is Laylatul Qadr. So if it is tonight, then let us have ourselves prepared. We start, brothers and sisters in Islam, with the most difficult, well I consider it the most difficult, and that is Salaatul Tasbeeh. Salaatul Tasbeeh, we've explained the method of doing so. You can also check it online on YouTube. They have videos, practical videos with pictures and everything on how to read the Salaatul Tasbeeh. Right? That should last about 40 minutes comfortably, if not a little bit longer. Now, once you've done with your Salatul Tasbeeh, your legs are going to be sore, you're going to be tired, you're not going to want to do physical ibadah after that, illa masha'Allah. Some people have a lot of krach, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless them. So, what I then would do in a situation like that, when I've just read Salah for quite a long time, my legs are going to be sore, I'm going to feel a bit tired. First option is another cup of coffee. Yes, and thereafter you take your tasbih, you sit down in the kitchen, or even better if you can walk around just to get the blood flowing a little bit, and you make some dhikr, especially the istighfar, reading Surah Ikhlas, Qul Huwallahu Ahad about 100 times if not more. A lot of astaghfirullah, Allahumma innaka afuun tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anni, salawatan Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and then something that many of us probably never thought of doing, something that I started doing and I found great benefit in that. And you will see the people in Medina, in the Masjid al-Nabawi, they'll just stand and they'll pick up their hands and start making dua. So while we're walking around, we don't want, if you're going to sit down or you're going to go lie down, just for a quick nap, just a short nap, you're going to wake up after suhoor, right? So don't fool yourself, bluff yourself like that. Take your tasbih, walk around. When you've done making some dhikr, that's your istighfar, your salawat, your surah ikhlas, and then you put your tasbih away, walk around making dua, walk around talking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a great, great, great night. Okay? Once you've completed this, I'm going to estimate you're probably going to be around 11:30, 12 o'clock. Right? Now, this option that I've given you is if you're going to start immediately after the Isha Salah, okay? If you're going to go and sleep immediately after, that's now your Taraweeh and your Witr is complete, and you go sleep immediately, you should either set an alarm and leave it far from your bed, so you have to stand up physically and go and switch it off, right? That's why I missed my suhoor, because my phone was next to my bed this morning. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. But put your phone a little bit away, and then you have to physically get up. Now then you'll have to wake up at about 2 o'clock so that you can comfortably finish this same kind of an amal by, let's say, 4:30, 4:45, so you can finish your suhoor quickly and get ready for the fast, right? So this is a option. This is just simple option that we can use to maximize on our time, right? Now, there are other ways we can do this. Maybe you can take turns in the house. If there are a number of people in the house, you can have shifts. That is awesome if you can have shifts. Don't forget also, while you're sitting down, and preferably the beginning portion of the night, because in the beginning of the night, you're a little bit more awake, so you can concentrate on what you're reading. So in the beginning part of the night, that's when you want to read some Quran. Very few people can wake up early in the morning and they're fresh enough to be able to sit down and concentrate on the Quran without catching fish. You know what I'm saying? So let us try and read our Quran early on in the night so that we can complete, let's say, a juz, even 2 juz if you're fortunate enough. That'll be a comfortable hour to finish your 2 juz if you're reading at a very reasonably, not fast, but reasonable pace, right? Myself personally, I can finish a juz comfortably in half an hour, right? So if you finish a juz in half an hour and you're reading 2, that's an hour already added to your ibadah time. Then you do your Salaatul Tasbeeh, because now you're moving your limbs a little bit. Thereafter you walk around and you make your dhikr and your adhkar and your du'as. And hopefully by then it's the next group of people's shift, and then you can go and have a short nap while they wake up and do their ibadah and they have their coffee and they start their things, and they wake you up again in time for suhoor, where I'm going to suggest, please, on this night, try not to have a big suhoor or waste too much time eating. Eat, but while you're sitting there, don't talk to other people. Don't talk to each other. Make dua in your heart. There are so many things, and now we're going to get into what kind of du'as we should be making on this kind of a night. Firstly, obviously, is istighfar, seeking forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let us not fool ourselves into believing that, but I don't have so many sins. Brother and sister in Islam, we unfortunately are so heedless of ourselves that most of the wrong things we do, firstly, we either don't even realize that we're doing the wrong thing. Secondly, we probably feel that's absolutely acceptable and therefore we justify that wrong. So there are so many things that we do that are wrong that we wouldn't make istighfar for, we wouldn't seek forgiveness for, because of those two reasons I've just mentioned. Either we don't even realize or we don't accept or consider it wrong. So first dua we need to make together with our istighfar is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala must close our eyes to the sins of other people and open our eyes to our own faults and our own flaws. That doesn't mean that people are doing the wrong thing, you don't notice it and you tell them, you know what you're doing is wrong, or fulfill that obligation of amr bil ma'ruf and nahy anil munkar, which is enjoining good and forbidding evil. We're not saying that. Turning your eyes away from the sins of other people is not that. A simple thing, if I had to stand up now, I've messed tea on my kurta last night, right? But if I ask you, what do you see? Nobody's going to see my white kurta. Everybody's going to see that spot of tea that I've messed, right? Strange, I drank tea, nobody drink coffee. I don't know, I was list for tea last night. Be that as it may. What we mean is that we don't focus on other people's sins to the extent that we can only see negative in other people and we can't see any negative in ourselves. Stop looking for the negative in other people. You'll notice it because it's normal to notice negative, right? But we don't focus on the negative and treat people according to their negative. But for myself, I focus on the negative and I consider myself according to the negative in my life. Unfortunately, a guy like me would look into the mirror and I'll see a beard and I'll see a kufiya, mashallah. I'll see a zulfa growing there and I'll see my nice long white kurta and it's above my ankles too, mashallah. And I know I read my salah, alhamdulillah, through the grace and mercy of Allah. So I am very pious. Understand? Therefore, other people are beneath me, which is problem number one. Problem number one. Never, ever, ever, ever think somebody's beneath you. So when we're making dua tonight, oh Allah, make me great in the eyes of people, because you cannot live life if you're considered second class or lowly, or if you're looked down upon in society. And you may ask yourself, but now you're asking for honor and respect. But this is a sunnah dua. Allahumma ja'alni sabura. Oh Allah, make me extremely patient when you test me. Waja'alni shakura. Make me extremely grateful when you grant favors to me. Waja'alni fi a'yunin nasi kabira. Make me great in the eyes of people. Wa fi ayni saghira. And make me small in my own eyes. So what does that mean? That I look at the good in other people and I treat them according to the good that I see in them. And the hadith said, "An-nasu ma'adin kama'adini dhahabi wal fidda." People are like mines. Like you get a gold and a silver mine, people are like mines. You won't find every mineral in a mine. There's one special mineral in that mine, okay? So everybody has that one special quality. And as I've mentioned it to my friend, the trustee of the masjid, Brother Rashid Prince, one day, he was very, not upset, he was confused. He couldn't understand what I meant. I said, I've learned more deen in my community, interacting with people, than what I learned in books. You know why? Because when you've got this, people are like minds, and everybody's got that one attribute. You kind of look for that attribute in each person, right? And you see where you can draw from those and bring it into your own life. This is what our mindset and mentality needs to be. All right. So tonight we're going to make dua that, oh Allah, forgive all my sins and help me to stop looking at other people's faults and sins and treating them accordingly. Rather, help me to find that mineral in them and treat them according to that and exploit that and bring that out in these people so that it can benefit them in their akhirah. And Ya Allah, but help me to keep my focus on my wrongs and my sins and keep me humble, keep me small in my own eyes. Let us not fool ourselves and look into the mirror and be like, yo, Imam Zakariyya Saab. It's not like that. This is just Zakariyya Saab. He's there in the other side. He's standing in front of the mirror. But he knows. He knows who he is. Tonight when he goes to bed, he doesn't say, Qasam, it wasn't me. He knows who he is. All of us know who we are. All of us should have some kind of an idea of where we stand with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right. So that's the first portion of the kind of du'as we need to make. Obviously, apart from the Jeep Wranglers and whatever else you want, right? And the money and whatever, right? But especially, I'm speaking now predominantly on the deen. You understand? Now, I know you can go Jamaat with a Jeep Wrangler. You can take a lot of people with you, but no, I want it for me. Okay, that's my one thing that I just want for me. Okay, you can want to whatever cause you want. Anyway, be that as it may. Now we've made dua for this, and I think really this is one of the biggest, if not it is the biggest disease that is plaguing the ummah today. We cannot see good in the next man. We have to nitpick. We have to find fault. We put people down. And why? Because we think we're very special. So we need to make this dua, oh Allah, make me great in the eyes of people, because I need to survive in life and I need to be able to serve the community. I mean, if I was the biggest schoolie in the community and nobody respected me, I wouldn't have been able to be the imam in the community. So there needs to be this a little bit of an element of people look up to you, understand, in order to live your life, whatever it may be. Even if you're a doctor, if you're a whatever your vocation is in life, okay? But at the same time, when we make dua that Allah must make us great in the eyes of people, that is for practical reasons. But for akhirah reasons, make me small in my own eyes, Ya Allah. Never ever let me think I'm special. And there was a great Sahabi, Abu Darda radiallahu anhu. Great Sahabi. If I remember correctly, it was him. And Jibril alayhi salatu wasalam came to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam one day and said, it could have been Abu Dhar. It's Abu Darda. That is Abu Darda. So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was astounded. He's like, how do you know that's Abu Darda? So now he's very famous in the heavens. Allahu Akbar. How is he so famous in the heavens? For two reasons. Jibril alayhi salatu wasalam says to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, two reasons. Number one, because he reads Qul huwa Allahu ahad, that surah, Ikhlas, often, all the time. Whenever he's walking around, doesn't occupy himself in nonsense, singing songs, whatever. He reads Surah Ikhlas all the time. So you can imagine the amount of reward that he has accumulated because of reciting Surah Ikhlas so often. And the second thing is لِصِغْرِهِ عِنْدَ نَفْسِ, because he considers himself so insignificant. Because of how insignificant he considers himself. The humility that he had. So those two things we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on this night. Also, let us pray to Allah to alleviate this lockdown. Because, I mean, all the counter evidence is coming out now to say that it's not as effective as they claim. And some are even arguing that it was never necessary in the first place. So in the very least, I mean, if we can go to schools and we can go to work for hours and hours on end, 1 hour a day in the masjid, how is that going to change the stats so dramatically that the world is going to fall apart around us? You understand what I'm saying? So we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on this night as well, that He alleviates this lockdown, opens up the places of worship. Like in I don't know if you saw in Guinea, the Muslims went and physically opened the masjid themselves and went to read salah. They said they'd rather die praying than not being in the masjid. So everybody, I mean, I don't know how many people I've met now over the last few days, just desperately wishing they could be back in the masjid. We pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opens lifts the lockdown and opens the masajid for us again, that we can benefit. Allahu Akbar. The last time I went to the masjid, I was so excited, I just grabbed the pole and hugged it. That's how excited I was to be inside the masjid again. Allahu Akbar. And what my fear is, as I've mentioned this before, I fear that we're going to become complacent and comfortable not going to the masjid. And something that I've learned, and I'm going to share this with all the men, and I want you to listen very, very carefully to what I'm saying. Normally what happens is we gun the women in the house and our wives because they don't read their salah on time, or when we go to the masjid they don't read their salah. Brother, have you now realized, being in lockdown, how difficult it is to be punctual on salah? Have you now realized? I have realized how difficult it is to be punctual on salah. 5 o'clock Fajr. Okay, not 5 o'clock now because of iftar, but I mean what I'm saying, trying to give you an example, right? 5 o'clock Fajr, 1 o'clock Dhuhr, 4 o'clock Asr, sunset time Maghrib, and 7 p.m. Isha. It's very, very difficult if you're at home. You understand? Because when you're going to the masjid, you leave whatever and you break away. It's not so easy when there's no pressure to do so, right? So instead of creating pressure to do so, rather become understanding of the woman and kind of facilitate it for her so that it is easier for her to read her salah on time. And this is another reason why salah isn't at a time, and if you don't read it at that time, you've missed it. There's a slot. As long as you read it within that slot, it's right. So let us learn from this, not to be so hard on our wives. Allah give us tawfiq and understanding. And I have, over the last few days, grown very, very, very uncomfortable with life because it has become so I don't even know what the word, disquieting, I think is the only word I can use. It's become so disquieting to know that I do not plan my life around my salah anymore. I now have to fit my salah in around my life because unfortunately there's no going to the masjid now. It's so disturbing to me. It needs to be like that for all the Muslim men who perform their salah in the masjid. It needs to be disturbing to you that not I have to leave the office at 12:45 so I can be at the masjid for Dhuhr salah. Instead of, okay, I'll see you at 1 and I'll read my salah there at the office before we leave at 2 o'clock or 2:30. Now because I can, now I'm delaying and I'm stretching and you know what I'm saying? So it's become so disquieting and I'm becoming so frustrated that I have to now, Ya Allah, Ya Rab, I'm fitting my salah in instead of fitting my life in around my salah. Do you understand? May Allah never ever let that become normal. Don't fall into this trap of this new normal that is the latest slogan that's going around. There's no new normal for a Muslim. There is the Sharia, there is the Deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there is the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That is normal. I hope we understand this point. I'm becoming emotional because I just want to go back to the masjid, man. Allahu Akbar. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala remove this lockdown. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reunite us with our masjid. Allahu Akbar. And remember, I take great solace in this, that no Muslim is supposed to be happy not to be in the masjid, right? And the hadith states that a person whose heart is attached to the masajid will be in the shade of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's throne on the day of Qiyamah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala place us under that shade on the day of Qiyamah, and all those brothers and sisters who are pining just to be in the masjid, Ya Rab. So that is another thing that we need to make dua for on Laylatul Qadr. Apart from, and this is something that is very dear to my heart, and I'm going to conclude with this because my lecture is already almost 19 minutes long. Our relationships are falling apart, brothers and sisters in Islam, because we do not know how to treat each other properly. Relationships are falling apart, marriages are falling apart, parents and children are becoming disunited, brothers and sisters are cutting each other out of their lives, brothers are physically beating each other. This is not how life is supposed to work. You know, we're supposed to be interacting with people in such a way, and I've said this before, that when you meet this person, he must feel like this was the greatest blessing in my life. And when you leave that person, he must long for the next opportunity he gets to meet you. Think about this. I mean, how many people meet us and Assalamu alaikum, when he's gone like, God. Think, how many people do that? You understand what I'm saying? Like, I know I'm an overbearing kind of a person, boisterous, I speak a lot, and I take over. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy on me, and I pray everybody that dua that I asked in the beginning of Ramadan, and in fact the beginning of lockdown, that Allah must bless me with peace and sukoon, and just a tranquility, and calm me down. It has yet to be accepted. It's coming, inshallah. Right? So, let us also pray for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to enhance and improve our people skills, our social interaction. It's called adabul mu'ashara, the etiquette with regards to social interaction, how to treat people. It's an entire field of study in Islam, an entire field of study. How to interact with people, how to treat people. Do you park people in or not? How to speak to somebody behind the counter? How to treat your domestic servant? How to treat your children, your spouse, your family, your parents, everybody. It's a science in Islam on its own. So this is something we need to pray for. We need to make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to improve our social skills, because it's evident that we do not know how to interact with people properly, which is why relationships are falling apart. For instance, many people... I just realized that was skew. Sorry, guys. Many people justify the fact that they are rude and obnoxious by saying, no, I'm straightforward. There's a big difference between being straightforward and being rude and obnoxious. A very big difference. Now, I say it how it is. You don't say it how it is. You are plain rude and disrespectful. Understand? So, we need to work on this. We need to do something about that. There are ways of getting messages across. Like, for instance, and a simple thing, and I'm going to stop now. One perfect example. Husband comes home, he's had a terrible day at work, and he's in a mood, his whole face is pulled up, and he walks into the house and he's all grumpy, and the wife sees him. Now, you can look at the situation in two ways. From the man's perspective, bro, you shouldn't be coming home with a face like that, okay? You come home with a face like that, and there's nothing you can do about it. The first thing, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, everybody. I'm very, very sorry. Please, can I just sit down for a few minutes by myself, collect my thoughts? I've had a terrible day. I just want to clear my mind. That's fine. At least they know why you're looking like that, alright? From the woman's perspective, your husband came in and he's looking like liver axie, okay? Now, you can say, hey, why are you coming in with a face like that? When you're gefriet hier, hy sê bring nie, ons het niks vir jou gedoen nie. We didn't do anything to you. You don't have to come to us. You're really going to solve your problem like that, ma'am, may I tell you? So the way to do this is, firstly, don't walk into your house with a face like that. If you had a bad day, send a message before you get home. Listen, I've had a terrible day. I'm a bit upset. I'm going to walk into the house. I'm just going to sit by myself a little bit, okay? So the wife at least knows, okay, it's not my fault. This bra's had a bad day, okay? But if you didn't do that, you walk into the house, and you should firstly be like, bro, this is my happy place. There's no need for me to be angry. They didn't do anything to me, so I don't have to take it out on them. But human nature, you'll be upset. So come in, explain that, look, I've had a bad day. Let me just go and sit down. And that solves the problem. Your husband walks in, he pulls his face like this. You tell him, hey, bro, you look like you had a bad day. Just go and chill. I'm bringing you a cup of tea. You can tell me later. Now, immediately, the psychology in a man is like, wow, she actually cares. You know, this is so cool. Hey, and then you go and sit down, and the tea comes, and the appa comes and sits down. Already you're feeling better. And then when you speak about it, you'll feel 10 times better. And for the women also, you don't have to become worked up and fight and become angry because he's angry like that. You can just be like, like a psychiatrist, and how does that make you feel? I'm saying. And it'll just solve so many problems, just the way we approach a situation. Okay? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq and understanding. May Allah bless our homes, that our homes can be gardens of Jannah for us. That can be our sanctuary. It can be a happy place. My brother is screaming Ameen from the room. If you listen to this bayan, Allahu Akbar. Right? We must walk into our homes. It must be our happy place. Your children must see you and they must be like, Dad! They must like jump on you. The Abba must see you be like, yes, my husband is home. You must see the wife like, oh, thank God I'm back home. Not like, oh, do I have to go home, guys? Don't you want to have a coffee at Magan Bean on the way? You know what I'm saying? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make our homes gardens of Jannah, sanctuaries, peaceful places, havens for us to escape the rat race that we live. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us in our relationships. May Allah grant us tawfiq to spend this night in ibadah. Like we said, do the difficult things in the beginning of the night, like reading Quran, Salaatul Tasbeeh, and thereafter you can walk around and make dhikr and dua, and because you're walking around you won't fall asleep. Make sure you stock up on coffee. Make sure you stock up on your Red Bulls and not only Red Bull. I'm not advertising. I'm just saying, like, whatever energy drinks. This is the one night you want to stay awake all night. But don't stay awake with people. And what we normally do is we sit together and we're freeting and we're having a chow and and cool drink and we're talking. And before you know it, it's 2 o'clock and then we tell everybody I stayed awake the whole night. Laylatul Qadr, mashallah. You didn't. You wasted the whole night of Laylatul Qadr. So let us be by ourselves, engage in ibadah, be with Allah tonight. Be with Allah tonight. May Allah grant us tawfiq and understanding. Whatever I have said that is correct is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the barakah of His Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the great benefit I've derived from my teachers. Whatever I've said that is wrong and incorrect is only from myself, my nafs, and my falling prey to the whisperings of shaitan. And Allah and His Rasul are exempted of that completely. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Please don't forget to make dua for me and my wrangler, and all the other things. And assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. Astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.